Alright, Shalom, Akim. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, and peace and blessings to the elect. Alright, this is Samak coming with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Alright, impromptu and trans. I'm on my way to the plantation right now. I just wanted to talk about how it is better to have not known the way of righteousness than to have known and to turn back. And what you see a lot of times is, I've noticed that most people who come into this truth and they labor for a moment, when they go back into the world, they're far worse than they were before they even came into the truth. Like, their living situation, their mental state, their emotional state is completely worse than it was prior to them waking up to the truth. Because before you woke up to the truth, most people were normal. You had your struggles, you were in the world, you were in your folly. And then you got the knowledge of this truth. And then you made changes in your life, right? Some more than others. Some people were still wrapped up in their old lifestyle a little too much, unequally yoked, if you will. But obviously when you first wake up to the truth, there is a process where your balance will go from 100% in the world to, 90% in the world, 10% in the truth. And then it just, it balances like from there to the point where it becomes 90-10. Because you're not going to be 100% in this truth, right? Because if you were, that would mean you would be perfect. But we're not. We still fall subject to the flesh at times, different situations for different people. But in one way or another, we all have glimpses of that old self weighing on our scale, right? So you may be 90-10. Some brothers may be 80-20. Some brothers 70-30, And I feel like as long as you're above 70%, I really like 80, but if you're above 70%, my personal perception is that you are more or less on the right path, to receiving, that salvation. Because at that point, you're more hot, than cold, and you're not warm. 80 degrees is not really warm. 80 degrees is hot, especially when the sun is out. 70 degrees is warm, but it can be a little hot depending on the situation, environment, what I mean? But going into 2 Peter, 2nd chapter, starting from the 20th verse, when you read up, it goes into how we were delivered, right, and escaped. We have escaped the folly of this world, right? The pollution of this world by what? The mercy and grace of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, right? And then, you were escaped from the pollution. You had the spirit of Yahweh Shai for a moment, but then what happened? Right? You were too unequally yoked. You weren't really putting the necessary work in to maintain your spirit, right? Maintain your spiritual muscle. So I'm a fitness addict, so when it comes to muscle, right, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's very simple. If you don't nourish it, you lose it, right? Your body will start to break down the muscle if you're not utilizing the muscle, and if you're not nourishing the muscle with, the essential amino acids or proteins that it needs, right? So the same applies to the spirit. You have to nurture the spirit, and you have to exercise the spirit, or else what happens? The spirit's going to wither away, and it's going to break down to the point where it completely leaves you, and then you end up going back into the world. And so with 2 Peter 2, it goes into how then after you receive the spirit, what happens is you get entangled, right, back into the affairs of the world. And then you go back into the world, and now there is no cloak or no covering, right? And then in 21 it states that it is better to have not known the way of righteousness than to have known the way of righteousness and then going back, roughly paraphrasing. So essentially, and even when you go precept that with Luke, the 12th chapter, and go down. It's like past the 40th verse, but it goes into how those that are, basically roughly paraphrasing, those that are knowledgeable shall be beaten with many stripes, but those that are not knowledgeable shall be beaten with few stripes. Right? So basically meaning that with those who know the way of the truth, they know the commandments, they know the word, the gospel, and they still don't abide by it, they're going to be beaten with many stripes because they knew better, right? They were taught right from wrong. All right? You knew what to do and what not to do, and you still didn't do what you were supposed to do. And you did the very things that you weren't supposed to do, and you did them willfully. You're going to be beaten with many stripes. But the man or the woman who did not know right from wrong, they didn't know the guidelines of the contract, or they didn't know the policies, well, they're going to be the ones that are beaten with few stripes. And the reason why is because they don't know. But there's still going to be there's still consequences, right, for breaking the contract. But because you didn't know, you're going to only be beaten with few stripes. All right, ignorance, as they say, right? So circling back to 2 Peter, all right, it goes into how it's better to have not known, right? And the reason why is because with great power comes great responsibility. And what I've noticed is that when people come into this truth and they go back into the world, they're always in a worse case than they were before they woke up to the truth. And that just goes to show the true power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and that he's not playing with you people. If y'all don't want to take his word seriously, he's going to plague you in the mind and in the body. So when he sends you back into the world, guess what? He's going to send you back into the world, and he's going to put you in an even worse position than you were. So now you're going to be even more fucked up. You might even get sent to a freaking mental health facility, man. I've witnessed it. I've seen it. I know people personally that this has happened to. The Most High is not playing, man. Sirach 5 and 7 says, make no tarry to turn to the Lord and put not off from day to day. Because in your security, all right, the Most High is going to send sudden destruction upon you. And that's roughly paraphrasing that last part. All right, in your security, you're going to think you all good because you've been going on and on. You've been doing the things you've been doing with no consequences. Nothing's happened. So you think the Most High is batting the eye. You think that he's not paying attention. All right. So you just think, all right, I'm going to keep continue doing what I'm doing, even though I feel like it's wrong. Or I know it's wrong. Because even if you don't even necessarily know if something's wrong, if you feel in your spirit that the very thing that you're doing is just not right, chances are it's not right. You know? Whether it's morally wrong and not necessarily against the law, but it's just morally just not right. You know, it's just not expedient. It's not a cool thing to do. So the Most High is not playing, man. And that's going pursuant to what Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, starting at the 11th verse, right, where it talks about how because judgment against a wicked deed is not sent out right away, you know, and that's me paraphrasing, making it put in the layman's terms. All right, because judgment is not executed as soon as you commit wickedness or shortly after you commit wickedness. People think that they're good, so now their heart is set in stone. Like, all right, I'm gonna continue to do wickedly because the Most High is not judging me for it. But the Most High has you reserved for a specific judgment until a specific day. That's going to be a testament of why the things you did in this body and in this life were so bad. You know, whether the Most High got you reserved for the missiles, or the Most High got you reserved for the pestilence or Jacob's trouble, or he might just fuck you up. He might just fuck you up, man. Simple. It's that simple. Whenever he feels like the time to do that judgment is, that's when the Most High is going to do it. So people keep playing with the Lord, man, thinking that shit is a game. Right? It's either, look, the scripture say he would rather you be hot or cold. He don't want you to be lukewarm. All right? Being lukewarm is not a good thing, man. You're playing the fence. You're playing both sides, man. You're going to get judged by both sides. That's the thing. When you're playing both sides, what happens is now you're going to have to reap the consequences of both sides of that party. You know, if you're an informant, right? Let's just use this as an example. It just came to mind. You're an informant for the police department, and you're basically informing on drug dealers, like drug lords in your neighborhood, but at the same time, you're also feeding the drug lord information on the police department. You're playing both sides. You're playing a risky game. Now, when you get caught up, not only are you going to be judged by the drug dealers, but you're also going to be judged by the police department. So don't let the drug dealers catch you on the street and they fuck you up and you survive, and then the cops grab you, put you in jail, and then you go to jail, and now everybody in jail that's from the block find out that you was snitching and they fucking you up. And then the COs in the prison notice that you were backsliding on the police department and you potentially got a cop injured or killed. Now guess what? Now the CO's fucking with you, man. So that's just a layman common example of how playing both sides, you have to reap the consequences of both sides. So if you want to be lukewarm, well, guess what? You're going to have to reap the judgment of the world and the judgment from the Heavenly Father. You're going to be beaten with many stripes because you knew better, but you didn't want to do better. Alright, so I was going to keep this lesson short. Alright, I pretty much believe the point was made. Lord willing, you brothers and sisters could have been edified anyway by this lesson. I pray Yahweh Bashim Yahushua some peace, mercy, and blessing upon you and your families and your houses. Until next time, shalom.